Beautiful.
Hello, lovers of the world. This is Cinta speaking. I love my monthly music review series, so it kind of broke my heart when I had to put it in the back burner for the rest of 2023 because I was really busy in the second half of the year. Therefore, even though I'm completely late to the party, I still decided to push myself to upload these music reviews regardless. These videos are not really for anybody but myself at this point because I enjoy a challenge and I want to continue the series no matter what. So, as you can see, we're back on the same tier list, but with new additions to rank. I wanted to keep all the previous things that I've listened to in the same place because I felt like that would make things easier for myself whenever I do want to compare so that I can better see whether I'm happy with this particular album being in the same tier with another album. It's also really nice to be able to see everything kind of laid out in the same place, especially when it's the end of the year, right? Now, usually in these videos, I would explain the rules and the grading system I have for this tier list. However, to save myself some time and you some time, I'm just going to skip that. And if you are curious about the grading system and the rules that I have for this tier list, you are more than welcome to go back and listen to any of the videos I have posted from January to June, because that's where I also go into depth with the explanations and the rules regarding my specific tier list. But hopefully you'll be able to follow along regardless. But now that that's out of the way, let's get into what I listened to in August. So first I listened to the Barbie album. This is the soundtrack to this year's Cultural Reset, the Barbie movie directed by Greta Gerwig. And honestly, I didn't really care too much for it as an album, so I'm gonna put this in Gems Found in the Mind. The songs did their part, which is to act in service of the plot of the film itself. But other than that, I felt like the only memorable songs were Angel, Barbie Dreams, and Speed Drive. Those are very different flavors of girlhood that I feel like captures the essence of, I guess, what Barbie could be. But maybe that's just my own perception or perspective or idea of what femininity means to me, right? I really loved Barbie Dreams and I really wish that 50/50 didn't disintegrate the way that they did because I really liked it so much. As for the Billie Eilish song, I have to speak my truth. I really hated that song. I don't know if I'm the only one out there because everybody seems to really like it, but didn't really care for it that much. I mean, again, it did its job of being a sad song in the movie. It's a very necessary thing to have in the plot, right? But it wasn't for me. Some other honorable mentions in the album were Hey Blondie by Dominic Fike and Choose Your Fighter by Ava Max. I like Hey Blondie because of its laid back acousticy vibes that kind of remind me of the early 2000s. It kind of brings me back to a specific time period when I was young, and therefore I feel kind of nostalgic for it. Meanwhile, Choose Your Fighter is nostalgic, but for a completely different reason. It's basically Euro dance pop that probably has a home in an alternate universe in Eurovision. However, when I listen to it, it kind of reminds me of those like old toys, cheap toys that my parents used to buy for me that would play these like random songs that were just like nonsensical almost, and just kind of gives off that vibe. And then I listened to Se Bueno by Turquoise Den. Now, I love this album. It's really scrumptious. I love describing albums as if it was food because I feel like music is so nourishing. And honestly, this album is just so delicious. It makes me want to gnaw on a bone like a hungry dog. Like, I just get that feeling sometimes where you like a song so much, you just like, it like triggers like this primeval instinct in you to like, I don't know. It's great. Anyway, I'm putting this in year endless material. I just really like it so much. My favorite songs are The Sky Fell, Starfields, and Dive. Now, Starfields has Broken Teeth in it, and the band, not actual Broken Teeth. And Dive has Asian Glow and Paranol as collaborators as well. And I just think that they have great chemistry. Like, Real recognizes Real. They're just really great songs. I just really love them. And then I listened to Kill My Doubt by ITZY. So this is their EP for the year. And I know right now, as I'm filming this in January 2024, they're doing their own comeback promotion cycle again, but this was their main comeback for 2023. They released two pre-release singles for this album, for this EP, Bet On Me and None of My Business. Now, when Bet On Me came out, I was like, kind of surprised. I was intrigued, but more so by the decision of JYP to kind of push ITZY in this direction for once. But as a song, I wasn't really like super taken in by it. However, when None of My Business came out, wow, I ate that shit up. I listened to it so much. Tasty, delicious, yummy. Funnily enough, the song that they eventually came out with, Cake, it's tasty in its own way. I think that Cake was a good title track. Overall, it's attention grabbing, it's fun, and it's catchy, and it's got a good dance to it. But I don't think it beat None of My Business for me. I think it was a good decision to release None of My Business because I was so obsessed with that song. Like, I could not wait for them to drop the EP because I was like determined to listen to it on Spotify. None of My Business is my favorite song. However, the other favorite song I had was Bratty. I thought that was really cool. And I also really liked Kill Shot, which was another excellent B-side. That being said, so I'm gonna put this in French Toast. I was fond of enough tracks to put it in this tier, and while the EP doesn't have a particular or specific concept or overarching story slash message, which is typical of K-pop releases anyway, I did feel like the songs in the EP showcased the main traits of ITZY very, very well. Youthful, sassy, boisterous, confident, but with a sharp edge that can't be ignored. And then I listened to this EP called Name of the Seasons by Kotoba, and this was released in 2020. This is just really good math rock, and I like it, and there's not really much else I have to say about it. So I'm gonna put this in French Toast, just like really nice math rock. It's fun, cool, I love it. And then I listened to Reboot by Treasure. Now this album, I don't think I liked it very much. I'm actually gonna just put it in Well, I Learned Something New. I gave it a shot even though I didn't like the title track because I have a hit or miss relationship with Treasure anyway. Usually they give me enough reasons to like dive into the B-sides to see whether or not I could find something that I like there. But I really didn't like Bona Bona. Bona Bona is a kind of song that when I listen to it, I feel like I go through the 7 stages of grief. There are a lot of elements in the song that I like, such as the electric guitar in the final chorus and the verses in general. It's just that I really hate the chorus. It kind of sucks everything that I liked out of the song and puts it into like a just puts me off the song in general, and it's just wasted potential that I can't bear. The album itself as a project has a pretty strong personality. It's just unfortunately I don't really like that personality. I can't really begrudge them for having a style because I like it when K-pop albums have a style and a direction. I just wasn't a fan of it. I did like Stupid and B.O.M.B. Bomb. Both songs have a boyish charm to them that I find pretty irresistible, and it's kind of reminiscent of all the other previous Treasure songs that I've liked in the past. So I was like, oh, nice, I like it. And I also kind of liked the track Wonderland. But overall, this project isn't for me, and that's okay. And then I listened to 23 by the K&D singer Yebit. This is her debut EP after only releasing digital singles since 2020. And I really enjoyed it. It's just straightforward indie pop that I feel like might have been influenced by Stilla Jang, in which case, you know, it's good. Yebit has a very clear and lovely voice that I just find myself gravitating towards. So I'm just gonna put this in French Toast. My favorite song is 100%. It's a very great start to the EP, and it has just like a really, really nice guitar opening riff that I really, really like. And then I listened to Lovevolution by Triple S. This is a nice album, and I enjoyed the title track a lot, Girls Capitalism. I think it's one of my favorites of the album. It's fun, and I really like the music video. The project overall has a very distinct sound, and I think the girls were able to deliver it really, really well. In fact, this is the kind of musicality that I think Luna could have had if BBC wasn't such a toxic piece of shit. This is what I expected Luna to continue with once they eventually debuted as a 12-piece unit. However, that never came to be, but it is nice to hear this sound, this musicality kind of continue, even though it's not done by the group that originated it. Because for those who don't know, the people who are managing Triple S right now used to be behind the creative side for Luna when they were still doing their solo ventures prior to them becoming a 12-piece band. That's something else entirely. However, going back to the production, I think it makes the most of its very many members. And I think it's a key feature of Triple S anyway, the fact that there's like different members moving into different subunits. The producers make the most of these many members by including these really interesting layered vocal harmonies and ad-libs in the background that I think adds flair and textures to the song that is just very pleasing to hear. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. I'm gonna put this in year-end list material just to be very optimistic. And my favorite songs are Complexity, Soul Sonyo Sound, and Speed Love. And then I listened to the Love All EP by Jo Yuri. Now, the title track Taxi is really, really fun, and I think it kind of just makes me realize how underrated Jo Yuri is, at least in the landscape of K-pop right now. I feel like when people think of girl groups, you're either New Jeans or very girl crush oriented. And that's why I'm such a big fan of the direction that Jo Yuri has decided to take on since she became a soloist. I think it's fun, it's different to what the other idol groups are doing, and I think the kinds of songs that she's doing complements her voice really well. Her tone is really unique, and I'm grateful that the company is kind of making the most of it. It helps her stand out from the others, and I hope that she kind of continues this path moving forward. So I'm gonna put this in B. As much as I enjoyed the tracks, at its core, it's still kind of just like a very basic K-pop EP. Now, moving forward, I listened to Left by Hatfeld. This was an EP that was released in 2022. I really like Hatfeld. I feel like I've been following her for a while. I wrote about her in my master's dissertation, so you can tell I'm kind of invested in her in some way. I really enjoyed this EP. I'm going to put this in French Toast. The project kind of gives off this idea, this vibe that the songs are just her midnight voice memos, like stuff that she said to her phone at like 2 a.m. or midnight, and she's just added instrumental background music to them. Overall, the production is very minimalist, but it kind of highlights how intimate and sincere her thoughts and lyrics are. And since it's such a minimalist project, there are only really very few things that you can focus on, and those things are executed really well. It kind of reminds me of a dish where the recipe is very, very simple and only calls for 2 or 3 ingredients. And so you have to make sure that those ingredients are fresh and high quality, because you'll be able to taste how quality they are in the final product. This project is basically just her and her guitar, her voice, and her lyrics. And I think that's why it feels so sincere and intimate. And it really showcases how much Hatfeld has switched from being a K-pop singer to an R&B singer to a singer-songwriter in such a short amount of time, and she pulls it off really well. My favorite song is the first song, Left, because of this clever play on words. I can't go right always, so I'm going to the left, with left as the direction in terms of one's path in life, but also left as in left alone or left behind, which is kind of like the key idea behind this entire EP. So yeah, I enjoyed it. And then I listened to Emails I Can't Forward by Sabrina Carpenter. This is the official deluxe edition to Emails I Can't Send, which was released in 2022, last year. And it features 2 new songs, but I will review it as a whole because I didn't listen to Emails I Can't Send. Therefore, I'm just going to listen to this because this is pretty much me listening to everything for the first time ever. I wasn't really that impressed by this album, but I don't think it's really necessarily Sabrina Carpenter's fault, and more so I blame the circumstances surrounding the album and my approach to this album. Because of the heavily promoted singles released like Nonsense and to a certain extent Feather, I kind of expected this album to be something completely different to what it eventually became. Because Nonsense and Feather were so cheeky and fun, I expected the rest of the album to be cheeky and fun with more wittier lyrics, with Sabrina kind of getting into these like romantic shenanigans. Instead, we get a project that leans heavily towards a more pensive tone and musings that better reflect the title of the album, Emails I Can't Send. The title implies thoughts or feelings that she can't express, things that she hesitates to tell the other person or the other recipient, guarded secrets almost. And I think that's a good reflection of what the album ended up becoming when I listened to it. I don't blame her necessarily for the misdirection per se. I think what just happened was the company obviously wanted to send out the song that they felt were going to be the most radio friendly, and I think that just made me think that the album was going to be a one-to-one reflection of what the singles were released, when instead it was an album where she released songs and tracks that were more intimate to her and something that she pushed herself to releasing into the world. Now, I did like a couple of songs. I loved Feather and Nonsense when they first came out. I think they're just really delicious pop music. And the other B-sides that I ended up liking were Read Your Mind and Already Over. But ultimately, I think I'm gonna have to put this in Gems Found in the Mine just because, yeah, I don't know, I wished for something else. And maybe when I dive deeper into her discography, or maybe when she releases more stuff in the future, I'll be able to find what I had originally been looking for. And then I listened to Harmony Set In by P1 Harmony. This is an EP that was released in 2022, and honestly, I didn't like anything from this EP. I'm gonna put this in The Eggs You Break for Your French Toast. The only song I kind of liked was Better Together, but not really that much. So, whoops. And then I listened to an EP called Yonder by a band named Dabda. I'm pretty sure this is their either second EP or this is their debut EP. This is another project that makes me want to gnash my teeth like an animal. It's just that kind of sound that I really, really love and drives me crazy. So I'm gonna put this in Year Endless material. My favorite songs are Flower Tale and One World, One Word. And then finally, I listened to New Mind by Nine.i. Now, when they first came out with their title track, I wasn't too impressed by it, which is a surprise because I usually like cutesy boy group songs, but this time I wasn't really that into it, and I don't even remember what the title of the song is right now. As for the entire EP, while the musicality stuck pretty closely to Nine.i's previous releases, I just didn't really like it as much as I did their previous work. So I'm gonna put this in Gems Found in the Mind. My favorite songs were One and High School Love. That's pretty much what I listened to in August. Let's have one more look at the entire thing. And then just for fun, here are the stats for this month. I listened to 13 projects this month. 10 of them were from 2023 and the rest were from other years. And then here is a pie chart of my listening activity of the year so far. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please feel free to hit the like button. And if you want to hear more of my monthly music reviews, feel free to subscribe as well. I'll see you guys in the next video where I talk about what I listened to in September. Bye-bye!